I like to say this is like a suitcase with two handles on it, and you're holding on to that one handle, and you are just livid because that other person does that thing, and how could they? And they hurt me because they did that thing that one time. Especially with relationships, people have a very hard time letting go of things like that. Well, you may not realize it, but they aren't holding on to that other handle. You think they are, but they left. They're gone. They're gone. So when you say you're forgiving someone of something, what you're really doing is giving yourself permission to let go of that thing, because you are the one holding on to it. You hold on to it. So you let that suitcase go. Boop.
Do they not understand the concept? Of course they do.
Right.
But they didn't want to end their experience here feeling sucky. So they listened to their body, and their body said something against what their current belief was holding.
Right.
They went with it. So just as I don't blame the vegan, I don't blame the meat eater either. But I just know that the one thread of truth is to listen to your vessel.
Well, I think it's true. I think there's two or three assumptions. I'm going to try to remember the one that I was thinking, the main one. So I think the assumption as well, this is probably why you shouldn't do something from a place of judgment, because it's the assumption that when you eat plants, there's no suffering. Just because you don't hear the screams doesn't mean they don't suffer. And I am a vegetarian, so when I say that, I mean, it's because I'm in my full awareness of that. So when I approach me being a vegetarian, I'm trying my best to not approach it from a place of judgment or fear. Another thing as well is the assumption that we, and I guess that touches on race, that we all are from the same place. Therefore, we should all abide to the same rules. And because there's so much confusion about what a race is and all different races that truly exist, or the DNA heritage from a biological point of view perspective, or from a soul lineage perspective, which is two different things. There are things we don't know yet. So I would say, yeah, these are all things to take into consideration. And do you have any information you blessed on this and that could bring a little bit more insight as well? Have you heard some stuff on that?
Sure. Yeah. And yeah, I would definitely qualify too if it needs to be said. If this helps somebody out there, that's cool. Not one bit of any of this is ever in judgment of anybody else ever, because everybody's having their own experience, and that's awesome that you get to even have it. So kudos to you for even sticking it out, because this ain't the easiest thing in the world. So, well, easiest thing, yeah, however you want to put it. Anyway, now regarding different diets, different walks of life, different races, needing this or that, the other. Being in America, especially, I've noticed that, like, growing up, especially here in the rural Midwest, it was 90-some% Caucasian, white people. And we all had the same diet, and we all ate the same meat and potato diet, basically, right? And I noticed that as it diversified more out here, as different, walks of life started showing up, that diet seemed very not conducive to health for them. Like it became very overweight when it came to some of the food that was available here. So they started having their own food, and things evened out. So it's evident, even if you just observe, that clearly, if you're from Mexico, you probably, maybe some do, I don't know, but the diet that we had here was, I don't want to say hostile, but not maybe for you, and on average. So, and that's fine, but it's a wonder to watch it play out. There's obviously differences, and that's okay. And it's you should celebrate that and be aware of it, because yeah, you should listen to yourself. Lactose tolerance is a huge one that anybody can look up and be familiar with. People that tend to look like this tend to be a little more tolerant when it comes to lactose than like East Asians, for example. And that's a very easy one for people, because everybody knows about lactose intolerance, right? So, but maybe there's more to it. The autoimmune things when it comes to wheat and things like this. Yeah, maybe that has something else something environmental going on, but maybe given your race, your lineage, your genetics, that's just your body saying, stop that. You don't need that. That's not for you. And that's okay. Just listen to it. So yeah, it's that there is no one size fits all for any of this stuff. And pretending that there is detrimental, very detrimental to people. So get yourself clean and listen to this in here, listen to that the most. That'll tell you where to go. So
where are you with gluten intolerance? Like personally, is it something that's affected your body, your vessel? Because I know that like generally you'll hear, well, generally on from a European perspective, we hear a lot of African Americans saying, "Oh, that's like white people thing." Like they'll be like, yeah, that's a white person thing. But like you said, lactose intolerance, Eastern Asians, like they'll be like, no lactose.
Right.
And that's well known, and that's like, yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah. For that one, it's like, oh yeah, we know about that. And most people are just real casual about it. Like, well, there's a lot more than just that one. And it's okay to acknowledge that and just be aware of it for your own sake. Like, I want you to be healthy, So, but yeah, so regarding gluten, I've noticed, at least around here, that definitely seems to be more of a white person thing compared to other race. I'm, definitely far more of a especially women. It seems to affect women more than men, from what I've noticed. And I think there's something to that with autoimmune things. I think they tend to affect women more than men. But you just, okay, so if you can't eat gluten, then just don't eat gluten. That's okay. But from my perspective, I have noticed that eating wheat and, grain-based things, not oats, but other grains, I feel like I can be more inflamed internally if I eat too much of that stuff. So I guess it's like I'm not intolerant to it or anything, personally speaking, but I can see how that may cause issues for other people if they're more sensitive. So I think there is something to that. And now I don't know if that's going back to the Monsanto, punchline, if that's more of a mutant food issue or a wheat issue, you know what I mean? Or a gluten issue, rather. Like, I'm not sure, because I don't remember it being a thing when I was younger, but maybe it was called something else back then, and we just didn't really know.
Or didn't care, because that was still the time where if you heard someone was allergic to, like what do you mean you don't eat peanuts? Shut up. Like, that was the time. What seatbelt? Just sit back in your chair. It was that.
Right. Yeah. I remember riding in cars that didn't have seatbelts when I was younger.
It's like, sit back.
little knee-high me, just.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, sit back, and then you just get a parental arm just go across you, and you're like,
right. Oh, now I'm safe.
like that was going to do anything.
Yeah. We'll just fly through the window at the same time now. Great.
That's physics for you, isn't it? But
it's a big journey to go through. And when it comes to these things, these are all the unpackings that people just want done for them, I've come to realize. But
oh, man, people are so systematized with that, aren't they? They want the 5-step plan.
Yeah, and a part of it's like, I don't know what to tell you other than you're going to have to figure it out for yourself, because it is not a one-size-fits-all like this gluten thing. When I started looking into it, like I was like, I can do gluten, but not a lot. And I'm kind of like, and no, it's like a no for me. But then I've got some white heritage. Is it because of that, or is it because we don't use the same seed that we used to? And it's like, what does it matter at this point? I don't feel good. Stop eating that thing.
Feel the urge to debunk this.
Go ahead, debunk.
Well, here's the thing. You take French people, for instance. As far as I know, they mainly Caucasian, right? I mean, there is, of course, because of colonization, even if it's the way they say it happened, but I've got another idea on that.
Yeah. I'm sure we could do a whole episode on that stuff.
Right. However, so they've got a group of people that are from, that are originally from Africa or North Africa or whatever. But for the most part, Caucasian. They are big in terms of using wheat and wheat culture and baking and doing certain things. And so you can easily also down there find sourdough bread, for instance.
Oh, I love sourdough bread.
Exactly. So it's not difficult to find it. So which it's said to process basically wheat a bit better when it comes to your gut and etc. The fact that they're saying, well, yeah, maybe being gluten intolerant is more, due to what race you are. Not too sure that's really true. See that a lot of French people are eating that, unless they, collectively decided we're never going to talk about, the way our experience on the toilet is. But I'm thinking that if that was the case, so many culture or even Italian that have a high wheat-based diet will suffer from that. I mean, so it mustn't be that. It's got to be something else.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. You're right.
So adding on to this now, you probably heard that many people are doing
touche.
I love it. So many people are doing this. What was it? 1, 2, 3. That that
yeah,
DNA
your
test.
DNA tests. Family heritage DNA.
23andMe.
There we go.
Yeah, where they give you a piece of paper.
Thank you, Blessed.
Tell you what your heritage is.
Yeah,
exactly. And then, so one thing that actually stood out a lot for me, it's few people from South, I think North or South Sudanese people actually did it. They just all in the West. For a lot of them, they're not necessarily, but they are 100%. Their parents are from that place. Through the result, they had a percentage of their DNA quite big for some of them. I think something like 10%. From what's that? This Dutch country. It's not Dutch country. It's
the Netherlands.
Netherlands. Yeah. What do you call them?
Like
it's not the Dutch. There's a name we use. Scandinavian countries. Oh, I couldn't. Scandinavian countries, and these are people that are, when it comes to their skin complexion, really, really much darker than another person. You will say, "Oh, you're a black person." No, they are pretty, much darker than I'm not going to say most of the black people here on Earth, but I'm just saying
there's some of the darker complexion.
There's some of the darker complexion on Earth.
Oh, like East Africans? Aren't East Africans? They're like midnight,
that blue,
dark,
almost blue.
Yeah.
It's this iridescent.
But yet, how can you? Unless there's something there that we obviously don't know, or that we are unaware of. That's why I'm like, when it comes to race, it's come on now. How do you have 10% of DNA related to Scandinavian countries? This is the most blonde and blue-eyed people on the planet, or supposedly.
Right. Part of my background too, for that matter. So.
I haven't done one, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yeah. So when it comes down to food intolerance, is it because of what race we are, or is it because of, like you said, like you suggested, perhaps the type of wheat we're having now are so modified to a point where, or they are modified, but because we believe that modifying a wheat seed is bad, therefore it then end up to be bad for us. Which one of the two is it?
Right. Yeah. And could it be both at the same time?
Can it be both at the same time?
Yeah. That's something that I forgot to touch on. And you're right. When it comes to gluten intolerance, especially the autoimmune stuff that goes along with that, how often do people get wheat-based food that is just made from wheat flour, that is not enriched flour, that has gone through a chemical process? In fact, if I recall, because I looked into this, I have a friend who has an autoimmune thing, and I remember looking into this ages ago, but there was some spike in autoimmune issues when it came to flour being largely just turned, like anything that you get is largely made from this enriched stuff. And I don't know, I didn't go too far down that rabbit hole. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but something about that was like, okay, so to your point, maybe it's the way that we're modifying it, because why would it just seem like all out of nowhere, all of a sudden over the past, what's it been? Probably the last 20 years or so. Suddenly there's this gluten intolerance everywhere. Was it called something else? Was it a belief? Is it all the above mixing together? Probably that. But is there a bigger culprit of the bunch? If I were to guess, hazard a guess, semi-educated guess, it's probably the mutant food issue more than it is the other things. But I do believe it all contributes. Yes. So regarding one particular race having it over others, probably not. It's probably more of your heritage, even your soul level heritage. Maybe you've lived many lives where you didn't touch that stuff, and all of a sudden it's your mainstay, and you're like, what the,
Yeah.
we're eating grass now? Because that's effectively what wheat is. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I never figured that I would. I love bread.
Oh yeah, I do too. It's a weakness.
I love bread. If someone said, "Do you sweet or savory tooth?" and I'd be like, "Savory all the way." So it was a big deal for me to have to even consider walking away from it. And I was like, you know what? Where it did bring me was to the idea of just eating food as whole as possible, like in its most original state as possible. And that also went for the meat. But then I found that that's what cut away a lot of my likes and dislikes towards certain meat, because I realized if you're not smothered in gravy, I don't actually like you.
Right.
Off the list.
Yes, and then you just really like gravy.
Oh my gosh, I love peri-peri sauce, but you not so much. And once you start peeling away at that, I think for somebody who's going through the journey of trying to clear their diet somewhat, I would recommend baby steps with that, because especially when it's health related, the mere fact that you're going through a chronic dis-ease is already chronic enough for you. Like, why then having to hear that you have to put yourself through any more further suffering on a daily basis is just inconceivable at sometimes. It's just like,
absolutely.
No, I won't. I'm suffering enough. Why would I suffer more and take away bread? Like, why would I?
Yeah, I'm miserable enough. Yeah, what the heck? Why don't we get rid of another reason to live? Sure, why not?
That's
bread away
basically
from me.
what.
You're going to say no to pizzas?
That's what I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was the breakdown. I said, hang on a minute. So that means, okay, no toast and marmalade in the morning. All right, fine. No pizza.
Yeah, hold on
a minute. It's getting serious.
And guess what? If you're vegans, no pizza with no cheese.
Ugh.
That's a hard one.
That was why I didn't officially cross that barrier, because I said no cheese pizza. It's called fugaz, but it's not pizza.
Right.
It's not.
You are now eating a different food entirely and trying to fool yourself into thinking you're eating pizza.
And that's okay as well.
Sure. I mean, if it works for you, cool.
But then,
I like pizza.
Would you say that perhaps our biggest enemies is our belief then? Because ultimately, like you suggested, Blessed, you were saying that, is it really the wheat that's the problem, or is it just the add-on things they put in flours, whatever that is,
right?
Calcium or whatever else.
Is it your awareness about it?
What is it? Is it your awareness about it? Because you just aware now
the dangers of blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. Or we fed all this information to the point as you start going into the shop and reading all the ingredients that's in the food to see if you should take it or not. Which then, in a way, is it not us relinquishing our own sovereignty by deciding according to what someone write in that, then we are going to take action or not, but not because we just, feel
because
like
we know.
Yeah, because we know we're not from a place of knowing, I guess.
Yes,
doing
and
that.
I can add to that. I'd imagine anybody listening, anybody you out there, all you fine, beautiful people, when you were younger, when you were a wee child, wee lass, wee lad, you probably ate like a dump truck was just putting stuff into your face. If you were anything like me, maybe not everybody did that, but especially as your teenage years, you just kind of ate and it was okay, right? Like you probably weren't too terribly worried about what was going in. It was just like, I want to add on to your point here. So used to do that back in the day, started getting ideas from others regarding, oh, you're going to get fat one day, right? Your metabolism is going to slow down and you're going to get fat. Well, I did. Fat-ish, fat for me. Fat for Europeans, surely fat for European. not to make too much of
fat.
Not to make too much of an American joke there, but going for the low-hanging fruit. But so anyway, fast forward to when I cleaned up my diet. Just to add a personal testament to this, I used to be an ingredient watcher when I first started this. Oh, soybean oil. Soybean oil isn't everything. And yes, it's allegedly very, very bad for you. It's got, xenoestrogen and all this other stuff you got to watch out for. Well, when I first started my ingredient watching habits before the beginning of the year is when I really cleaned my diet up. Anytime I ate food like that, I felt like I got fat or fatter or whatever because I was reading the ingredients list. Since the beginning of the year, going back to the point of when you were younger, did you care? No. So since the beginning of the year, I started being like, what did childlike me do? What did teenage me do? Okay, I remember just thinking that I could eat like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. If you watch, like I could just put that giant freaking burger and just jam it in my gullet and I was fine. I was always going to be skinny. And I went back to those sets of beliefs from when I was younger, which I would suggest are far closer to the truth of who we are. And doing that combined with, I cleaned up my diet. Yeah, I fast from time to time. Like I can just eat whatever the hell I feel like now, really. Like, I'm not going to overeat. I'm not going to go crazy, but like, I could have something that's steeped in soybean oil, deep fat fried in soybean, a soy sandwich dipped in soy sauce, deep fat fried in soy, and just jam that thing down and I'll be fine. So yeah, I agree that your beliefs are by far the biggest part of that. Yes. So
what you're mentioning then is alchemy, is transmutation. Is saying to yourself, look, I'll alchemize that. I'm good.
Yes.
True
absolutely.
alchemy.
And that goes into many, 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 many things. That is touching on the good stuff. That goes beyond your diet, beyond your health, beyond that affects everything in your life. Yeah. So, yes. So one of my beliefs, just for fun, here's one I haven't brought up. Maybe you've watched vampire movies before or something. There's one called Interview with the Vampire. It's an older one, but there's a line in there where they're talking about, their powers or whatever, but they say one thing is for sure though, as we go on, we get stronger. As we go through, as we continue, we get stronger. And I've always held that. I'm only bringing that up because it's a pop culture reference. That's not where I got the root belief, but that is how I picture myself. And I would suggest that anyone who does this will have a better life if they just really firmly know this. It's not even a belief, it's a knowing. As you go through life, you get stronger. As you go through life, you're turning into a better version of yourself. Instead of that old classic idea of, I'm getting old and I have my back and all that crap. Replace those thoughts with that, I'm getting stronger. Every day I'm getting stronger. Like a vampire, if that helps, because people know what the vampire shtick, right? Most people do. That'll probably help you. Just think about it like that and leave the blood out of it,
Well, do you know what? You're not far off, because I literally had to tell myself that. I do have a lot of friends who come and say, we're getting old. Speak for yourself.
Right.
I'm programmed at about like 12 years old, and that's the last time I felt myself really saying, I feel a year older, actually. Ever since then, it's been a blur. It's been a surprise to me. I've been like, what? 27? When? It's always been a surprise. It still is a surprise. He'll tell you. He'll be like...
Ingrained cultural belief too, right? Your age. Because if you celebrate your birthday, you're 1 year older. Well, what's getting older mean? And all that. Like, those are all beliefs. They're all beliefs. And you're feeding yourself that crap, which is why this turns into an ashen gray rotting, wrinkly mess. Stop that. Don't do that. It doesn't have to.
And I say to myself, I've always been, since I was a little kid, older than my years. But the knowing.
Me too.
So nothing's changed. I'm always older than my years. I'm eons old. Why are we... Though I'll take a birthday cake.
It's like I started old anyway.
As long as you put ice cream on it, like, we're good. I'll blow out the candles. I'll play the game. But I'm old. I know I'm older than my years. I've known that since I was 3 and giving 30-year-olds advice about what boyfriend to have. Like, not that one.
Nice.
Not that one. It's like, they were like, okay, you were right. I was like, okay. But that's that. And it's the stepping back into the knowing of the inner you that was free.
Yes.
Free from worry.
You did know. You did know all those things.
Know.
Just and have your moment where you're like, God, I knew it. I knew it the whole time. And like, go, blow your top if you have to. That's great. But yeah, that's you. You know. You already know.
It's very funny because you did mention like referring yourself to your inner child and what would you do, when you were 7, 8 years old. And you mentioned fasting, which someone will probably say, yeah, but that's counterintuitive because you were not fasting when you were a kid. But come to think about it, you were specifically when you were busy playing. You didn't think about eating anything. It's boredom that got you into eating bunch of stuff. Yes. So it goes hand in hand.
Or someone calling you in and telling you it's dinner time and you're so vexed. Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm busy, woman.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't even want this
it
dry
because
meat.
you do want to get fed, and you're like, if I have another meatloaf or if I have any more mackerel, it was that, and it was no more peppered mackerel, please. But then you were upset. Why? Because you weren't hungry. You were just sitting down to please someone else.
Yes.
To get this thing done, and then you have to rush back to go and do what you were busy doing.
And the point I'm making about that, it's the willingness to do fasting was experienced through joy, not pain. Not anything where you just, I'm going to force myself to fast because I need to reset myself. Although that can definitely help. But then maybe you want to consider getting your mind busy when you do that because, when the mind kicks in and think it's bored, it's about eat the whole entire kitchen. It goes. But,
and then you fridge gaze.
But this gets me to talk about being able to have to gain back the ability of filtering through energy, joy, and stuff like that. Because to me, that's where I went back, which I was doing a lot when I was a kid, where it was a lot of based off the way I feel and am I in a loving situation right now? Because if I am, I'm never, like Shem just said, I'm never going to be disturbed by you calling me for food. I don't want to be disturbed. And it brought me to the idea that now while I'm practicing often, it's trying to feel the energy. So more than what's written on the packet, it's more like, okay, I'm more concerned about how the energy is in that egg and how is it being treated, because I know it will eventually have its own, it's not that it will have its own effect, but I'm forced to transmute whatever was there, which I become a lot more conscious. What?
Why make it harder on yourself? I do that with eggs now too. I stop buying the baseline eggs. I get the actually free. I mean, I'm in the Midwest. Why am I not getting eggs from chickens that are out in somebody's yard? Like that's a thing in rural. Like, why am I getting the factory farmed egg? So yeah, I hear you. Like, cut out some of the work for yourself.
Yeah. So now you've got this now work you have to do to transmute these things, whereas you don't necessarily have to when you begin to observe a lot more. And it's another reason why I am now practicing aura reading. It's not necessarily for people. Now, would I read a few people if they wanted me to do it? Why not? Perhaps for fun. But all I'm saying is like all stuff you go around your house, and I do believe what Japanese believe as well in terms of everything has energy in it.
Feng Shui.
And that's why,
and that's Feng Shui. I like saying Shui. Mm-hmm. It's funnier that way.
Feng Shui, yeah. And why they say, I think it's ikadakimasu or something like that. They have a saying. They're saying
they say
basically
ikadakimasu.
to be grateful for the whole chain that brought you the food on your plate.
Oh, yes.
Because
Sorry to cut you. That just reminded me of when I first started questioning my meat habits. When I did eat meat and when I do eat meat now, and I should do this for all of it really, but it's the meat mainly. Like, I picture the animal. I picture the people that did the process, the whole thing that led up to me having this on my plate now, and I'm grateful. And that does make a difference. Anyone listening, you start doing that, you're going to feel a difference, I promise you. So,
and I would say, begin to be, I would say this as well. I think begin to be in your awareness. That's how where you are right now works. It's how it works. It's just how it works. Energy get transferred. It never disappears. So that's how it works. So get into your intuition and get to feel things. Because ultimately, we've kind of experienced all of this, like doing organic food and trying to grow your own food and preserve seeds and that. And more so like now we obviously planning to do that again, but in different way. It will be more something that like a game. I'm playing the game of life. I'm witnessing the cycle of life. That's more where I would love to go.
You're doing it from the person playing perspective instead of from the avatar.
Yeah, basically.
And I say that to say, my first thing was, okay, I don't mind growing food, but it has to look good. Because don't forget, I'm coming from pristine lawns. I didn't want a jungle. And then me and Omondi discovered no dig, and I was here for it because digging up your land every year is backbreaking.
Yeah, and it's not good for it either, as it turns out. Who would have thought,
Yeah, and then it turns out that weeds are friends, and they're just there to tell you what needs to be covered. And if your earth is open, it covers that for you. And then other things unfold, and you're like, this is a lot like life.
Yes. Life happens. What's the saying? Seth from Jane Roberts, Seth's claim. Something to the effect of, life happens in spite of you, not because of you. So when you talk about the weeds and stuff, they're there for a reason. All right. The only reason that there's so many of them and they seem like such a nuisance is because you keep trying to keep them from doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, on that's some things I've noticed. I might as well share what I've noticed when we're doing it.
Sure.
I've noticed the issue with weed is the same issue with thoughts, negative thoughts. So basically, where we were trying to pick up all this weed and get rid of it, it kept on coming, because we were focusing our attention there. Then obviously, as you learn more about how things work, also, funny enough, that's why plants have feelings, because they communicate. So for the one who don't think they suffer, not sure about that, they have the ability to communicate between one another. And we also found out that if you dig, you disrupt the communication system. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this, is the fact that how do you get rid of weed? You plant more of the plants you desire. And eventually, this will take over and get rid of the weed. And it's the same thing with thoughts.
Absolutely.
So instead of focusing on the negative thoughts, the more you have of positive thoughts, the more energy you focus there, the more then this wins over whatever negative thought you had. And we were able to do the parallax between the two. And that's another thing now why, if I was to go back, and I'm sure it's the same for you as well, for what you found out, I would do it from a completely different perspective, because I began to learn more that way rather than the fear-based way to do it, where like, I'm doing it because I need to be healthy and this is wrong and this is good way to do it.
I'm more enlightened. Well, I'm like, what a crock of shit.
What you're touching on, it's funny how much this goes across life in general, focusing on the negative and hating the negative versus loving the positive and not giving any energy to the negative. Another fun Seth quote, just related to this, a love or a hatred of war does not bring peace. A love of peace brings peace. Because all you're doing with the weeds, with war, with your health and hospitals, or you're focusing on dis-ease. I love how you put that, because that's exactly how you should really say that word. No matter what it is, you're focusing on the negative all the time. And when you're doing that, you're just growing the monster. right? It's feeding the monster. It's like, I can't even think of a specific example, but all kinds of kids shows touch on this, right? The idea of like, there's the monster, and the more you fight it, the bigger it gets. But the moment that you just stop giving it your attention and focus on the nice, lovely thing, or forgive it because it's actually part of you, or whatever this, the moral is, it goes away. And then you just do the good thing. And turns out that works much better than trying to fight the bad thing all the time, because there is no bad thing. If you just focus on the good thing, it just goes away. So, yeah.
You've touched on something there, and somehow, I'm sure someone in the comments section will read that as you not caring about the atrocities that are happening in the world.
That's okay.
That's okay too, but I do love that Seth quote, and I think that would be a very poignant answer to be pinned at the top, just for anyone coming in with that energy to filter that thought and sit with that. Because
absolutely,
it's that. And now I know why I didn't answer that comment today, because on some level I knew I was going to talk to you and then you'd come in with the perfect answer. So again, another pinned comment by Blessed. It's happening. I'm telling you right now, I want you to email me that quote.
Also the truth is for those who has to see, though.
That's
so even
true.
If you do put it out there, when someone is their intent is to just disprove that what you're saying.
They've made their mind up.
Yeah. So we'll put it anyway. Because I love it. And that's the only reason I'm doing it. So,
I loved it too. It always stuck with me because it's so true. It's so true.
So whoever can't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if one person's ready to see it and sees it, I mean, boom, that's okay.
All that matters.
100 people could see it and be like, oh, that's stupid. They can have their good little, sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of you. I guess I did just kind of make fun of you if you're that.
But it was fun, wasn't it?
But right, like, I'm not judging you. I am not judging you, but I'm at a different place now, and that's okay. But if that one person sees it and is like, oh my God, it makes so much more sense now. Boom, win. That's it. That's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just the one.
Yep.
Just the one will do. I think when you come to the idea of this transmutation as well, and it being a soul, it's like on a soul rejection level for certain foods or certain practices, like whether or not you are not a breakfast person, but now you have to be, or whatever that may be.
Oh, yeah. As you go through your journey, especially, you're going to have some moments where you're like, oh, I don't want to do that thing I've done for 20 years anymore. Wait, what? Did I just say that?
It's that shedding. And that's okay as well. And but when ages and ages ago, before I even thought about this even being anything to do with a spiritual awakening, before I even knew the concept of spiritual awakening, I was just a scared child seeing dead people. I read a book. By Louise Hay, and it was called, I think something to the effect of You Can Heal Your Life. And in there, she has a list of ailments, and then she has soul root causes of them, things we haven't processed yet on a soul level or emotional level, why we're having the disease of it. And then she had this affirmation for it. For you, getting to the place where you are now, what are the things you had to transmute on a soul level, let go of, release on a soul level, forgive on a soul level?
That's wonderful. That reminds me of, to touch on that, just one example. I recall reading about, so for a long time, heart attacks typically tend to lean more towards men having heart attacks. Well, what's causing the heart? What do men do with what happens in here that is extremely unhealthy, especially if you're talking about older men? They cram it in, right? And they never deal with it. Well, then they have a heart attack one day. Well, because you're not dealing with matters of the heart. And that's not to judge. It's not your fault. Usually society told you that you're a big, strong man and you can't do that, or whatever the silliness is, right? Well, that's why you're having those freaking heart attacks, man. Because this is like, and you're not dealing with it. So Yeah, I'm sure that's probably in that book even. That sounds like a wonderful book. I'd love to read that.
Listen, that book has, sometimes there are some books that are like for a while and then you can give them to a friend and be like, no, you have that now. That book's always stayed with me. I've always circled back because there's always that one thing left. I'm like, what is that? And then I'm like, okay. But then now I can compound my intention towards it. So now I have my OBEs more consciously instead of just all spontaneously. I'll be like, oh, it is that. Okay, let me figure out where that comes from. And then I could just trace back the past life that went to, or that instance, or I'll just be honest with myself. I'll be like, I do be doing that a lot around the house, whatever that may be. And I just forgive it. And I mean forgive it, meaning I release it. I release it from my schedule. I release it from my thoughts. I release it from my belief.
Letting go.
Yeah, just let it. I let it go.
Well, it's funny. Once you
let it go.
you
No more than 3 seconds.
Yes.
No more than 3 seconds.
Once you actually look at the term of what forgiveness meant.
Yeah.
And actually,
that helped.
It's kind of not what most people think it is, because when you talk about forgiveness, I guess it's so difficult for people to reach that level, because there's a lack of understanding on what actually forgiveness is for. And the perception anyway of people is usually doing a favor for someone, not saying that there is a mirroring process, and not forgiving attach you to the person, forgiving, and if they move on, you therefore left with that energy where they forgive themselves and moved on.
Yes.
But what would you say for you was your best comprehensive way to achieve that level of forgiveness? If you feel you reached now an ability to reproduce it if you encounter an undesirable situation, because after a while, when you really good at it, you tend to now repeat the process, I guess.
Right. You catch it before it even becomes an issue, because underneath it all. So I'll speak to it, but just to start, since you mentioned that, you see that divine light in the other person. And in doing that, you see that they're just a soul struggling through their challenges. Maybe that one pisses you off when they do it. That's your personality structure versus theirs. But they aren't the one, no matter what they do, if it affects you, if you feel bothered by it. I like to say this is like a suitcase with 2 handles on it. And you're holding on to that one handle, and you are just livid because that other person does that thing, and how could they? And they hurt me because they did that thing that one time, especially with relationships. People have a very hard time letting go of things like that. Well, you may not realize it, but they aren't holding on to that other handle. You think they are, but they left. They're gone. They're gone. So when you say you're forgiving someone of something, what you're really doing is giving yourself permission to let go of that thing, because you are the one holding on to it. You hold on to it. So you let that suitcase go, boop, and down it goes, and it falls away. And now you feel so much better. You'll even feel this. I'm sure both of you have felt this through the process of forgiveness. You feel it fall away. Some unseen thing is just, it falls off, and you're like, like, it's funny how many idioms we use in figures of speech that are like this. Like a weight off my shoulders. Like, yeah, because it fell off of you. You could feel it fall away the moment you stopped holding on to it. So when it comes to forgiveness, it's the idea that you have given yourself permission to let go of something. That doesn't mean, so when you say, I forgive you, you're not really forgiving that person. The mirror, you got to smile before the mirror does, right? I mentioned that way back at the beginning. You are forgiving yourself and seeing that divinity in the other person, because ultimately you are the only person that has control over yourself and how you feel. No one else can do that for you. So if someone's just really getting on you, or you're really upset because they betrayed you or whatever else, you have to stop and analyze how that's how you're clinging on to that moment. And this is very hard for some people, and I've got infinite sympathy for this, for anyone watching. I've been through some very tough moments and had to face this myself, but I guarantee you, I've never been through one that I recall. I mean, I'm sure I have, but I don't recall any life reviews right now. But some part of me knows this is basically what it is. You, in order to forgive and go through that process, you have to see it from your side and be like, yeah, they betrayed me. They betrayed my trust, whatever. I'm the one holding on to that and refusing to let it go. And because of that, I'm causing all these extra problems in my life. I have to be capable of seeing them as the divine being they are and the divine being that I am. And the moment that you can do that and say, you suddenly have a very sympathetic lens to it, and you're like, you were just hurting. You can see how they were hurting because they betrayed you, because they did that awful thing. Hurt people, right? So you can let that, the moment you see that whole process, you can let it go. And the moment you can let it go, you can forgive it in them too. And then it's okay. Like, your life gets so much better when you're capable of doing this, because you're not holding on to all the crap. You got crap in this hand and this hand and this hand. You got it slung over your shoulder and everywhere else. Just let it fall away. It's okay. It's all right. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. We're all going through a learning process here. So,
yeah.
Would you say then it's because the way you explained it sounds like it's like hanging on to codependencies, whereas you would say, because in a way it does feel comfortable, because if you hang on to the codependence, then you don't have to somewhat take responsibility. And what I mean responsibility is because then again, it's another word that's often taken the wrong way, which is more the ability to respond to a situation rather than blame, which we usually been told is from a blame perspective. You don't take responsibility
or
for
duty.
your action, whatever, or duty, as you say. Whereas that being codependent on the situation, because the reason why I'm saying this is because you did mention something. You say, I'm trying to prevent it, just trying not to let it get to that point. Is that perhaps what you've noticed and what you can fine tune and be like, I see a codependency here, let me not go there?
Yeah, I would say codependencies are a great way to set yourself up for these moments, because ultimately you are sovereign over you. And when you go through your spiritual journey, your soul journey, your just life journey, sooner or later you're going to have these little nudges where it's like, if I was just whole, if I were to really boil it down and just say it this way, if I were whole in here, then I wouldn't claim to need is a good way to put it, this thing from this other person, whether that be some sort of codependent relationship where, they do this thing so well, but I don't. I mean, it's okay to recognize that and have complementary personalities and all of that, but you can't see it as some sort of shortcoming and failing and whatever in you, because the moment that you start doing that, you're going to open a breeding ground for resentment for somebody else because they can. And you keep telling yourself you can't. It goes back to that idea of belief. I can't. Well, grats, you can't, because you keep telling yourself that. And that's your belief. So if you can avoid even setting yourself up for that codependency where resentment can just start brewing, then you're never going to have a moment where you have to forgive anything, because you can recognize the skills in somebody else, or recognize that you really like having this other person around. They're super swell and you want to have a life together. Sweet. Are they whole? Are you whole? Then you're going to realize that you're just choosing to do this. There is, like, you're choosing to do that without, it's not this, like, it's more just, it's all harmonious and it's together because you choose to be like this. If that helps people to understand, you're not doing this crap anymore. Because when you do this and you pull far enough because you're starting to get pissed off, you're going to hit yourself in the face with, like, you can't do that to yourself, because this causes strife. This causes harmony. And yeah, this is something that I've, with regard to what I'm doing in my own heart-based stuff now, as a cat tries to knock over one of my lights. Sorry.
Okay.
How did you do that? With regard to my own stuff, like, it's helping people understand that, because so many people don't even get that. And when you can open the, and it's okay, because it's almost invisible while you're doing the human thing, right? The invisible stuff is what usually trips you up. The moment you can help people understand that, everything in their life improves. This is such a big thing. I mean, I'm sure, both of you having undergone your own spiritual journeys and realizing some stuff like personal forgiveness and just keeping it here instead of out there, all your relationships improve. It's beautiful. So yeah, that's what I would say with that.
And you can call so much in, and
yes,
your ease is one of them. Your flow is one of them.
You are enough.
Yeah. And this idea of ease and flow is that counter to dis-ease and stagnation and blockages. And when you look at what things cause any sort of dis-ease, it is based around something is blocked, something is tensioned. All the things that you mentioned, they're locked, they're blocked, they're stagnated, they're for whatever.
Well, what also I realized about, and specifically about the way you explained it, I also realized this. I realized that when you approach it that way, then you gain the ability to understand why your soul has chosen to sometimes play both sides. For a while, I was saying, well, if you see from a soul perspective, you do choose to be here and have the full spectrum of the experience, being the bad one and the good one. Therefore, we complete the experience, the journey, and we go back home. Then, yeah, that makes sense from that perspective. But let's say even if that don't speak to you, but you can say, okay, the person is now decided to experience being the bad one, so that you can experience being the good one, and you're on the good side right now. But let's say you're thinking, I don't know if my soul would choose to ever be the bad one. That is fine. However, for the sake of integration, it would make sense even from the way you say no have codependencies, because if someone is choose to actually experience this life from the so-called bad one, then they wouldn't know any better for now, because that was a choice they made on a soul level. Therefore, shouldn't you even forgive them anyway? Because just they don't know any better. How can you? It's like a child doesn't know. If they don't know any better, you can't be mad at a child for not knowing any better.
Right. Forgive them, so they know not what they do.
If anything, maybe you should show gratitude for the fact that you know in that situation.
Yes.
How about that?
And also, being the good one sucks balls, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're going to only be left with the resentment and the anger of not forgiving, because after all I've done, I was only good to you.
Yeah, all that righteous fury.
Yeah, righteous fury feels shit.
Yes.
Like, that's a whole struggle bag in itself.
Although
just to say, well, I was the good one, so what? Like, being in a state of resentment sucks. So you were choosing the good one for what reason? You don't feel great. They're fine, living their best life, clearly moved on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking, it's funny you mentioned this, because although choosing to be the good one, is that not a codependency?
Right. Good relative to what? Oh, that other person. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You couldn't be the good one without her or him.
Yeah. So thank them.
You're only the good one because you needed the bad one to be the opposite of what you are, I guess. And
who else would you play with if you couldn't play the game with your counterpart that you needed to act out that part with you?
Right. Well, even if you end up feeling like your heart's broken or whatever. Like I very recently actually went through one heck of a moment where I could have walked away from it and just been utterly devastated and heartbroken and just fallen to pieces. I forgave them the moment that it happened. I forgave them, whatever it is, 70 times 7 or 7 times, whatever the biblical reference is. But the idea is you always forgive. The idea is that it's just infinite. Like the very moment that it happened, I'm like, I can't be mad at them. I love them. And I love that they're willing to be here and go through this. From my perspective, Brenda's experience, they self-sabotage. That's the way I'd put it. But just watching it unfold and being like, I feel nothing but love and kindness towards you, and gratitude for the time we did have. And even now, gratitude for getting to be part of what you're going through. Like, holy crap, he took on a huge challenge this time. Speaking as though I were speaking to them. Because that's really what it is. When you get to the point where you are seeing things from the meta level, from the pulled out observer of your life, and the fact that you know that you're this infinite being and you're here for these experiences. And when you're witnessing these moments, it's like, holy moly, you took on this big challenge, and like you don't even see, like you are just a little like your persona is just a little actor in this play, and you're watching all the little pieces and you're like, oh my goodness. Wow, you did that. You took on that big challenge. You know what? I've got respect for that even. Nothing but love and respect. So.
Do you know what? It's really funny you mention it that way, because I had to ask myself one question about that. I was like, why do I want to be the good one? And is it not a form of approval that I'm searching for? The only reason why I'm good is because I want to be perceived as such.
Yeah, good according to whom? Well, that involves somebody else's validation then automatically. So.
But then I realized then when you remain there, you lose the ability to forgive. And that's like double-edged swords.
Right.
And then it actually also counteracted the idea of these people, they do bad things, somewhat their life is still good. Because it was like, yeah, you do good things, somewhat your life is still perceived as good. Is it not the same in its own way? And I was like, So there was a lot of mind gymnastic I had to do.
Right. That brings moral relativism into it a lot too.
Yeah.
Like this person's good as this person's bad, and that stuff.
And my conclusion to this was like, duality and no good. Too complicated. No, I just had to say, F it and let go when it's just, because some of these things is more about an understanding what's taking place, what you're doing, where you are, and to let go, integrate the experience. It's just let go.
Overstand.
Yeah. So
yes,
that's
absolutely. You let go because it's just an experience. You're still here. It's okay. You went through that experience. What'd you learn from it? Are you poo-pooing it? Are you, woe is me and all of that? Well, then you probably haven't integrated it yet. Because the moment you integrate it, it's easy at that point. It doesn't matter what it is. So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
that process.
Yeah. And that's certainly not to diminish any lessons. Like I was just speaking on this other person, like, man, you honor other people's struggles when you get to that point. Like it doesn't matter. They could be the meanest SOB ever, and take your corporate CEO, like whatever mustache twirling villain you want. But like, holy crap, you're going through all of that. You chose to do all of this in this lifetime. Wow. I mean, I can't believe you're getting through it. Like, I don't know if I could do that.
But it was the necessity to drop from here to your heart space for me became obvious and important, because if not, you're in a mind soup. It's just a soup you're making.
Yeah.
What do you call it? You call it the ratatouille.
Ratatouille, yeah. and you end up, you know what? Literally, you know what you end up to do? You end up to trying to justify everything. It's like a justification for all the solution you think you found, and you cannot lose yourself in it. And it goes nowhere. He comes, bring you back right to the same space.
Yeah, it's that classic. Yeah. I'm not fond of doing this anymore, but I know it helps for a lot of people. You'd say like the ego stuff, right? Your ego is like trying to avoid harm, trying to find ways to keep you from feeling bad. So, as Christian Sundberg would put it, another wonderful fellow, should check his stuff out if you haven't yet. You the viewer, but he'll mention it, and I know it's not the ego in the way that it's presented. The ego is kind of a catchphrase for a lot of things, but the idea of like, well, you don't feel powerful in this moment. Well, here, you can hurt this person. There, do you feel better now? See, you got power, right? You feel the power, and it's not power at all. It's you already have all the things, but you're a little too caught up in your role. You're a little too caught up here, the ratatouille, the monkey mind chatter, as I've heard it put before too. Yeah, you gotta examine it not just from your actor, but from watching the play, and then it starts making so much more sense. And you don't desperately grab for, you're not in survival mode anymore. So
Yeah, that is beautifully said.
Yeah.
So again, we have easily knocked out 2 hours. We're clearly coming back again. I'm not going to, do you know what? It's just like the beginning of every lovely relationship, isn't it, babe?
Yeah.
I'm no longer going to tell you when I'm going to see you again. I'll tell you when I won't see you again. And that way it'll be easier because, yeah. A lovely conversation again.
oh, these are wonderful. Just totally natural. Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful lessons as well.
Yeah,
Part of letting go, bring these possibilities on. That's why we can have this conversation. Because go a couple of years back, I wouldn't have been able to figure
you wouldn't have been part of this.
out. I say, I got. I mean, I don't agree with what you're saying. Yeah, some people are wrong, but not anymore.
You would have called ratatouille.
Why?
Right. Well, yeah, you held on to all that negative stuff, right? That's your whole life from before, just real quick.
Yeah.
So if that hasn't worked this whole time and you're desperately clinging to it while going, that's dumb, that's dumb, that's dumb. Like you're holding on to the weakest branch of the tree 30 feet in the air going, you're dumb because you stuck a pole in the tree instead of just holding on to this weak little branch I'm about to break off from. Maybe if you were just to let go and take a different branch, you'd be much better off. It's okay. Just let go.
Yeah.
But again, I think the process of letting go is as well be, patient with yourself. And if you can't do it the first time, it's all right. It's all good.
Yeah.
You'll get another shot at it. It's all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was like, it doesn't undo what happened. It doesn't delete that a happening happened. And I think that's what people can't let go. If I don't let go, then that means what happened didn't happen. And that's not true. It doesn't delete what happened.
Right.
It still happened.
Mm-hmm.
No one's deleting that.
But usually they feel that way.
But it does feel that way at the time because it's like, hang on a minute, let go. And then then what? It didn't happen. It happened. I need everyone to know it happened so that they know it happened.
People like wearing their trauma as a badge of honor.
Yeah, exactly.
Who would I be if I don't have my trauma to talk about all the time? Well, you'd be happier, and we'll find out. Try it, see what happens.
Yeah,
probably be better off.
You'll have less trauma.
Yes.
We can. Do you know what? I'm going to stop it here because we can go on forever.
Yeah,
that's facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
So I was about to open up a whole nother jasmine tea flower, and it was just gonna. So. As always, Blessed, it has been an honor to speak to you. It's always lovely. It always feels
likewise.
Like it always feels good. It feels easy. And if this conversation resonated with you, you can leave your comments in the comment section. You know where to find Bless. Go in the description, and all of his details will be there. And with thanks for you tuning in. Ciao.
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 Okay.